Today we're going to be taking a look at the second watch from Erebus Watches, the hot new micro brand that's headed up by Jody from Just One More Watch, along with his business partner, Mr. P. The first watch from Erebus was a dive watch, which wasn't much of a surprise. Usually when a new micro brand gets started, they need to get a watch that will sell, and so they start with the most popular watch, which is the dive watch. But what I've often seen is that it's the second watch from a brand that really tells you what they're all about. And I think that holds true with this watch from Erebus. Now having two watches to look at, we can kind of see what Jody and Mr. P are going for in this brand, and I think it can be summed up in one word, which is value. Take a quick look at the new Erebus Ascent, and then I'll explain what I mean. Hey guys, welcome back to Just the Watch. My name's Dave. I live in Japan and I love to collect affordable watches. And one of the fun things about running this channel has been getting to know a lot of other creators and other watch channels from other parts of the world. Kind of over in my time zone at least is Jody, who's down in Australia. And I've been eagerly following along with what he's been up to with the new brand Erebus and the watches that they've released. I reviewed their dive watch, the Origin, which was cool, but I'm not actually a huge dive watch fan, so I was much more excited to see them do a sports watch, a true kind of go anywhere, do anything take with this new Ascent. And now having two watches under their belt, I think we can kind of see what Erebus is going for in terms of the brand. Neither the Origin nor the Ascent are particularly original watches. They don't show a lot of innovative designs. Rather, what you do see is a combination of elements from other popular watches that have been mixed together in a pleasing way, combined with a high quality build and absolutely all of the features that watch enthusiasts like. And they're offering all of that at an incredibly low price. In terms of specifications and quality, these are some of the best watches for the money that are on the market right now. But there is a bit of a challenge there because that segment of the market, this high-spec, low-cost segment of the market, has kind of been taken over by a lot of these AliExpress brands like San Martin. So the real question is going to be, can Erebus distinguish themselves from these Chinese factory brands in offering something more interesting and appealing than what's already available? First off, I do need to let you guys know that Jody has promised to send me over a production unit of the watch once they're ready, which is why you saw the paid promotions flag at the beginning of this video. However, other than the promise of a watch, I have not received any additional compensation for this review, nor has Jody or Mr. P or anybody from Erebus had any control over the content of this review. So with that out of the way, let's start by talking about what this watch is trying to accomplish. Now, Jody actually made this clear on his introduction video of the watch. He said that they're aiming to make a watch of comparable quality to what you would find in luxury watches costing thousands of dollars for a much lower price. And I think in a lot of ways, they've definitely succeeded in that. Now, obviously, it's not possible to make a watch of equal quality to a $5,000 luxury watch and then sell it for $500. Notably, the Erebus Ascent is powered by the Miyota 9015 automatic movement, which, while being an excellent, affordable automatic movement, it's certainly not in the same tier of luxury Swiss watch movements that you'd see from the likes of Rolex or Omega. Likewise, the case finishing, while excellent for a watch in this price range, is not going to compete with luxury watches. But in a lot of other ways, this watch really does come shockingly close to what you would expect from a much more expensive luxury watch. The Erebus Ascent is a sports watch that combines high water resistance, excellent lume, and a sturdy automatic movement with a design that is both legible and highly versatile. This is a watch that you can wear in pretty much any situation. If you want to wear it with a suit, no problem. It'll look just fine. If you want to take it to the beach and go surfing, it'll handle that too. If you're going to be out late into the night and need something that has good lume, it's got that covered as well. This is a watch that could easily serve you as your primary watch or even your only watch. The only real drawback that I see here is that it is kind of lacking in originality. While not an outright homage, I think this watch draws some heavy inspiration from the Omega Aqua Terra and the Seiko Sarb 033, with some elements from Grand Seiko thrown in as well. Jody sent me 4 different watches to take a look at, and for the last week and a half or so, I've been having different ones on my wrist. I've had them sitting around on my desk, and there's been more than a few times where I've absentmindedly glanced down at one of them and my brain thought, oh, that's an Aqua Terra. But given the fact that this watch costs more than 10 times less than an Aqua Terra, I think that's kind of a compliment. And while it's easy to see which watches they've drawn inspiration from, there are a few interesting little design cues when you look closer, with the end result being very pleasing and appealing, and just enough originality for Erebus to create something that is their own. One thing that really does stand out about this watch is the level of quality that has gone into the production of all of the individual components, which really make this watch look and feel like a much more expensive watch than it actually is. The handset and the applied markers on the dial are absolutely gorgeous, some of the best I've seen in this price range. The applied markers have a lot of height to them with a beautiful trapezoid shape and wonderful finishing. The hour and minute hand has a broad, flat surface across the top with very sharp bezels along the edges. Just below the 12 o'clock marker, you get an applied Erebus logo. And positioned at 6 o'clock, you're getting a framed color-matched date window. These elements on the dial are all polished, and with all of the bevels on there, you get just some wonderful light play and reflections as it catches the light in different situations, while always maintaining excellent legibility. And as for the dial itself, well, there's a lot of options there. 12 different dial options to be precise. I've got 4 of them in for review here: the black enamel, the green fume, the green malachite, and the purple helix. And all of them are extremely high quality and very attractive. And this is something I think sort of offsets the lack of originality in the overall design. While the design of the watch doesn't break any new ground, there are some incredibly striking dial options here. And because there's such a wide range of dial options to choose from, not to mention 2 different bracelet options to choose from, it gives you the ability to kind of customize the watch to your liking in a way. And it gives you options that you wouldn't see from the luxury watches that Erebus drew inspiration from. Maybe the most aggressive dial options are the helix patterns. I have the purple helix in for review, and it is a very striking, very intricate dial. From a distance, the texture looks somewhat organic, like the skin from a reptile, or maybe the center of a sunflower. But if you get up close with a macro lens, you can actually see that the Erebus logo has been integrated into this design. And you can see that that helix pattern is not just printed on the dial, it's actually etched into the dial itself. This adds another level of light play to the watch, which I think is particularly striking with this purple hue. In bright, even light, you'll get a vibrant burst of purple, but in other situations, you'll get subtle hints of purple combined with a lot of black. It's a really cool and beautiful effect. Another very striking option is the green malachite dial. Malachite is a natural decorative stone, so that striped pattern to the dial is going to be unique to whichever watch you get. There will be variations in that from stone to stone. There's a lot of different shades of green in there, but overall it's a very vibrant green color, and I think it pairs very well with the design of this watch. I also have the fume green dial as well, and this is a much darker green than the malachite. It is a lighter, more vibrant shade of green in the center of the dial, and then it goes to an almost black color at the edges. And the green is fairly subtle on this dial. Indoors, it will often look completely black, but if you go outside into sunlight, you'll get a very vibrant pop of green coming off the dial. Finally, I also have the black enamel dial to take a look at. Enamel is one of my favorite materials to see used in a watch dial, and here I think it looks great with the hands and markers of this watch. The deep glossy black of the dial contrasts wonderfully with the high polished silver of the hands and markers, and if you look closely you can see the reflections of the hands against the glossy black of the watch as they glide around the dial. Next, I want to take a step back and talk about the case of this watch because this is another area that I really liked. Looking at the watch from the top, you're going to see a high polished bezel that is surrounded by these very broad bevels that make up the case of the watch. And if you rotate the watch to the side, you'll see that this bevel is matched by a bevel on the underside of the watch that comes up to meet it, but they don't quite come to a point. Instead, there's a very thin, flat line, which has a brushed surface in contrast to the high polished bevels on the top and bottom of the case. You'll also notice that the entire case has an elegant curve to it, which overall helps to balance the watch extremely well on your wrist and make it wear very comfortably. I feel like the case shape here is reminiscent of what you see from Grand Seiko on some of their watches, and I think it works perfectly here on the Ascent. Finally, let's talk about the choice of bracelets on this watch, and here you're getting some inspiration from Rolex in their O-style or J-style bracelets. The O style is heavily reminiscent of Rolex's Oyster bracelets, while the J style is very similar to their Jubilee bracelets. The J style bracelet is a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more elegant looking. The smaller links offer more articulation, so it drapes around your wrist a little bit nicer. And there is some horizontal flex in there that also aids in comfort. The O style is a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more sporty looking. And it also features male end links, so if you have smaller wrists, it will extend the watch a little bit longer there. However, the watch is pretty modestly proportioned, with a lug-to-lug of just under 45 millimeters. So even if you do go with the O-style bracelet, the male end links only extend things out to about 51 millimeters. For me, both of these wore well on my 7.5-inch wrist. Erebus has this watch listed as a 39 millimeter case. I was measuring it closer to 38 millimeters at most angles. But either way, I think they really found the sweet spot here. This watch is going to look fine on almost any wrist size. So the design overall, while not particularly original, does come together in a very beautiful way. And crucially, there's no clear misses here. There's nothing offensive or polarizing about the design. Some people aren't going to be drawn to the crazy patterns like the Helix dials, but then they give you so many different dial options that doesn't matter because you can just pick a different one that does suit your taste. And for what the Ascent lacks in originality, I think it more than makes up for in its specifications. Jody and Mr. P both are watch enthusiasts with large collections of watches and a very keen understanding of what makes a good watch. And I think that's something that really comes out in the watches that they put together. Because from a feature standpoint and a quality standpoint, these watches have everything you could possibly want. Let's start with the lume. The lume here is excellent for a dressy sports watch, even outshining most of the dive watches that I get in for review. When I ran this through my tests, it came out with a score of 12, which is significantly better than what I get from my Seiko Samurai. One touch that I really like is the lumed teardrop counterbalance on the second hand. For a sports watch, it's not absolutely necessary, but it is really cool to be able to see the second hand moving in the dark like that. Other great specs include the Miyota 9015 automatic movement. This is Miyota's premium movement that features a very smooth sweeping second hand with reliability and accuracy that is superior to what you would get on a lot of other entry-level movements. You're also getting 100 meters of water resistance, screw-down crown, sapphire crystal. Both bracelets are very high quality, featuring screw links, solid end links, and quick release on those end links. Finally, you're getting excellent clasp that not only has micro adjust, it also features a tool-free micro adjust system. With the push of a button, you can lengthen or shorten the clasp on the fly, allowing you to easily adjust the size of the bracelet throughout the day, which really increases the overall comfort of the watch on the bracelet. The caseback of the watch is a little bit of a letdown, but I don't really care about casebacks that much. I think an exhibition caseback probably would have been a better choice here, but that might have added a bit to the thickness or cost of the watch, so I won't complain too much about the plain low-profile solid caseback that the watch features. So we've covered a lot of ground here, and I want to wrap this up by trying to address the initial question that I asked. Does the Erebus Ascent do enough to differentiate itself like manufacturers like San Martin, whose business model is built around offering you watches that are incredibly high-spec'd and well-finished at a fraction of the price of a luxury watch? And while the answer to that question is going to vary from person to person, I think there's a few definite advantages that the Erebus Ascent has. While the design here isn't particularly original, I think it is a really good, very appealing design. The watch is a joy to wear and it looks great on the wrist. Likewise, the huge level of choice that they give you here is something that really distinguishes them. And I think for a lot of watch collectors, myself included, YouTube has played a huge part in forming our appreciation of watches. And so if you're a fan of the Just One More Watch channel, having a watch that was designed in part by Jody is a very appealing thing. The thing that often distinguishes a good watch from a great watch is the story that the watch tells. And for a lot of people, that connection to Jody is a great story. Overall, this watch is a fantastic value at $350. If you're looking for a great looking, high quality watch that can be worn in any situation, you really can't go wrong here. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Ascent. If you're planning on getting one, let me know which dial option appeals to you the most and which bracelets you would go for. I'm honestly having a pretty hard time choosing. I really like the malachite one, but I might want to go with something a little bit more subdued. I think I like the Jubilee styled look a little bit better than the Oyster style, but again, really difficult to choose between them. So I'd love to see what you guys think down in the comments down below. Also, if you're interested in getting a watch themed t-shirt like this one, you can pick it up at justthewatch.com. That will wrap it up for today. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to Just One More Watch.